perhaps Steven Pinker is well known for articulating one of the strongest statements about the lack of adaptive utility of certain art forms, music in particular being one that he stresses. He even goes so far as to say, and I think many people are familiar with the quote, that these forms of art are nothing but mental cheesecake. Right?
Junk food.
Right.
Survival
I mean,
junk
it's sort
food.
of junk food. So we have certainly adapted certain delight in eating things that are dense with fat and sugar, because in the ancestral world, those of our forebears who had a predilection for eating fleshy fruit and ripened nuts, they're the ones that stored up on the calories that allowed them to survive when times turned lean. But now here in the modern world, we create things like cheesecake that prey upon those adaptive sensibilities, even though the cheesecake itself offers no nutritional value of its own. And that's his view for certain art forms. They're preying upon our highly attuned, say, sonic sensitivities, right? Those of our forebears walking around the African savannah who were well attuned to a noise over there or a sound over there were the ones who better understood their environment, had a better chance of surviving. Music comes along and then leverages that sonic sensitivity by pushing our pleasure buttons in a way that offers, in today's world, no adaptive survival value at all. So that's sort of an extreme position of the adaptive uselessness of art.
But he's not making a comment about our appreciation or experiential in the same way that you have been defending consciousness as not being diminished by the reality of its physicality, nor this experience of some sense of freedom, nor art.
Yeah, it is a mistake to assume that the ultimate arbiter of value is whether something has an adaptive role. It's not. It's simply a fact, a quality, an element of how the world operates. So Pinker himself has great respect for and highly values artistic exploration and works of art. He's simply asking, is it the case that these behaviors are of value in one particular domain, helping us to survive? And in that one barometer, he's saying that they don't.
So do you agree with Pinker?
Well, I personally don't. It could be that, my dad was a composer, he was a musician. I grew up around music from the time I was crawling around, right? So that maybe has biased my perspective, but it feels to me, and it feels to me deeply, that artistic exploration is vital to the ability to innovate, the ability to think about things in a different way. Glenn Gould has this wonderful remark where he talks about a Bach fugue and the way in which the melodic lines can be inverted and turned in on themselves, and yet, even with that miraculous rearrangement of the notes, yields something that is deeply wondrous in its melodic line. And I see physics in much the same way. What do? We rearrange the building blocks of reality. What did Einstein do in developing the special theory of relativity? He took the old ideas of space and time and the speed of light, and he rearranged them in a sparkling new configuration in which the speed of light was constant, forcing space and time to be relative. And that rearrangement of the building blocks yielded a radically new picture of the world that turns out to be correct. And it feels to me that artistic exploration over the course of 100,000 generations is what primed the brain to rearranging structures in the world and creating new patterns, and within those new patterns, creating new insights into how the world actually works.